What's going on this week in Nerf?
Welcome to This Week in Nerf, your source for first-party, third-party, and community Nerf news. I'm Adriana, and there is a significant amount of news to talk about, so Nerf. The Fortnite GL showed up on argos.co.uk, and there's not a lot more new information, but there is one new image, and it does confirm that it comes with 6 rockets. I am really excited for this rocket launcher. Hamp's a little silly, but just holding that many rockets at one time, rockets are just fun. The price though, £60 seems very high, so I'm hoping that comes down. This is one of the blasters that I'm the most hyped for, but with that price point, I might have to wait till it goes on sale. This listing also shows the weight of the blaster being 2 kilograms. Hopefully that's a box weight and not the weight of the blaster, because that's pretty heavy actually. The Rebel Mech has started showing up in Canadian Walmart, so I'm hoping it'll show its head here in the United States very soon. In Canada, you can get it for 28 CAD, and as we learned a couple of weeks ago, it'll be around $25 in the US, and that's a really cheap way to get an awesome Buzzbee drum. Those drums are so cool. The blaster might have had some changes in production during the last toy fair. Buzzbee claimed that it was a full auto blaster. Someone who bought this blaster says that it's semi-auto, so I'm hoping that they're just mistaken, but it is possible there have been production changes since Toy Fair. The buyer also claims it gets 90 FPS stock with Adventure Force waffles, but the blaster itself comes with the terrible super darts. So if you purchase this blaster, I would also suggest getting Adventure Force waffles because they're just superior in every way. 2 Hyper Blasters got listings on Walmart this week, so I'm hoping that we see more about them very soon. So there's the Hyper Hail 100, which is coming in at $70, and the Hyper Jab 40 for $30. We do have artist renditions of both of these blasters from people who have seen the prototypes. I haven't seen the actual photos, but I trust the source for these, so I think this will be all right to look at. The Hail 100 has a 100 round hopper, probably, if the naming scheme is to follow somewhat from the rival series. It's shaped really similar to the Nemesis, but it's probably sized more like the Percy's. The Jab looks like it's a pull prime with a 40 round hopper, and $30 seems pretty darn reasonable for a 40 round blaster. That's pretty cool. The Hyper Ammo hasn't been confirmed specifically for what it is, but from the name schemes and the proportions of the blaster, I'm leaning towards half-size rival. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing more confirmation of this in the near future, probably, if it's already got listings on Walmart. The Spamf is a super cool, clever, mag-fed pistol that uses a falcon fire as its base. So you retain its grip and its slide and parts of the plunger assembly. And Gavin Fuzzy was selling these kits for $54. You still would need to find your own falcon fire though. But now he's selling STLs for the same blaster for $10. And that is a really good price point, I think. The license is for unlimited personal use, so you can make as many Spamfs as you want for yourself, or one purchase of the STL per sale or commission or whatever. This should fit on most printers. The tallest piece is 160 millimeters in height, so that's not too bad. That should work for almost everybody. All of the necessary hardware that you need to put it together is listed, but sourcing that stuff is really annoying, so instead you can pay for convenience and get a hardware kit for $8. That's really cheap for the time you're going to spend just getting a couple of screws on eBay and then waiting a month for it to come in. All of these options do still require you to have the Falcon Fire blaster first, so if you've got a spare one lying around, it's a pretty sweet mod. Atch Attachments, who's based in the UK, just started a web store. It's mostly files for various mods and a couple of blasters. It's got licensing rules similar to several other file sales that we've seen lately, with the unlimited personal use or one purchase per commission. I really, really like that format. I'm glad no one's ruined it yet. One of the blaster files is a new one. This is the Balls of Fury. It's a really interesting offshoot of the Proton Pack, or like the Hurricane type thing with the HIRs and blowers. The blower is integrated with the blaster itself, and all of the ammo is held in the hose. That's a very interesting take on it. You can check out what's available at atchattachments.co.uk, and there's also a link to that in the description. The Icon series has been releasing very, very slowly, but now we get a look at the Longshot Icon, which is arguably the most iconic blaster in the series so far. This one was spotted in Hong Kong, and you can see that the Icon logo is only on the front gun, which no one ever actually wants to use. So that's a little unfortunate, similar to how on the Icon Spectre, the logo was only on the barrel, not on the blaster itself. Little bit sad about that. There are also some internal photos floating around. I'm not sure where the original source for this was, but looking inside, you can see that it's a bit different. The plunger tube on the Icon is much smaller than the original. You can see the comparison here. It's pretty significant. So I think the main question that we have now is, will current aftermarket parts fit in this blaster? I really hope so, because the Longshot is such... It really does fit with the Icon series. It's a very iconic blaster. People have been modding them forever. So hopefully we can get the current aftermarket parts to fit. Got to get a big plunger tube in there, got to get a full new breech, make it shoot 200 FPS plus. I'm looking forward to seeing more of these, because I really like this End Strike yellow. It's very pretty. I like it a lot. I hope it'll work. The Volt is now showing up in stores, and Shadow3569 on Reddit posted a ton of images. It looks like Hasbro's learned a lot of manufacturing tricks with the Alpha Strike line, and it's employed some of those here. The Volt looks like it has no screws at all, and there are very, very few number of parts. The shell itself is held together with clips and possibly glue, but Shadow was able to split the shell open with just a screwdriver. The flashlight turns on with a switch located inside of the trigger well, which means you can't fire while holding the light on. It's a little odd. And this design looks like it might be a little more difficult to mod than the Fire Strike that it was probably modeled after. And strangely, the plunger head lacks an O-ring. It looks like Hasbro is really doing its best to cut away any hardware that it can. There isn't even a screw for the battery door. It kind of looks like there meant to be one, but then there wasn't. Very strange, but those will be in stores and you can look for yourself. Hopefully, they're not as difficult to mod as it looks. On their Facebook page, Dart Zone showed off the Adventure Force Spectrum. Finally, Dart Zone takes on the Stryfe in a big way. This is a clip-fed flywheeler. It's got semi-auto fire, a rev trigger, which is a little bit rare for Dart Zone blasters, and it comes with this funky foregrip that can be either vertical or horizontal, depending on however you want to orient it. Scope, a 2-piece adjustable stock, and a 10-round clip. Presumably the magazine is compatible with End Strike clips, just like all the other Dart Zone blasters were. I don't see why they would decide to change that now. Walmart exclusive, hence the Adventure Force title on it, is claiming 80-foot ranges. That's not too shabby. The motor covers look like they have these weird vents on them, so that could be pretty good for when we, replace those motors with higher power, usually hotter ones. The color on the base blaster looks a little funky, but I think it'll lend itself to paint jobs really, really, really well. The rails on it looks like it's probably Picatinny. I hope so. And it comes with Adventure Force waffle darts. Yay! Best darts. And now it's time for the mod of the week, and there were a ton of amazing options this week, but I went with Gravy Bunny's Ultra Mav. And it's a really cheeky idea, but functional too. It's not just a painted Maverick, it has a completely rebuilt cylinder to accept Ultra Dart, so it actually does fire Ultra. at 60 FPS with a 40-foot range. And the Ultra logo itself is handmade and painted on both sides. Unlike Hasbro, they believe if you can do something better, you should. What's actually surprising and impressive, all of the orange detail is entirely in Sharpie, so that must have taken a very, very steady hand. All around, this blaster looks really clean. It's a clever, funny, cheeky idea, and I like your attitude. Thanks for sharing it. And that's all the news for this week. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, the links to everything I talked about are down in the description, along with the like button, the subscribe button, with the bell or whatever. This end of video YouTube stuff is so weird. Let me know what blasters you guys are excited for coming out. I'm hoping that the Longshot's really moddable because I love the yellow. I just love the yellow. Yellow's a good color. Yep. Outro dance. Outro dance. Outro dance. Ow.